is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. Big show out there on TV right now. The one that is keeping our form of metal alive is clearly That Metal Show. And on the phone right now, we've got one of the hosts of That Metal Show, Don Jamieson. Don, how are you, man?
Doing all right, man. Gearing up for a good weekend here in Jersey. Going to check out some live music tonight and party after the weekend. Enjoy the end of the summer and start gearing up again for some more metal shows.
Sure, man. Well, dude, obviously, no question about it. That Metal Show has definitely been the biggest thing that you've probably participated in as far as national publicity, and the show has had a great run. You know, at what point do you guys, at what point do you run out of bands to talk to, within that format? It seems like you guys have really captured pretty much everybody over the last 5 years that's come through.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it's just like, when it's like the Letterman show or Leno, like, they'll interview the same people, more than once. So it's like, if 2 or 3 years goes by, hey, we want to have, Ace Frehley back on again, or we want to have, Rob Zombie back on again, or we want to have Alice Cooper back on again because they got new stuff happening. So it's the same formula as any other talk show. It's just that, with the metal audience, and we definitely appeal to the classic bands. Yeah, we definitely are, going back through and having guys on multiple times. But that's cool too, because, dude, these guys, a guy like Alice Cooper, you could have on every show, and he would have a story that you never heard of before. So that's what's so cool about these guys. A lot of these artists, man, they got 40 years of experience under their belt, man. You could talk to these guys for hours,
right? And
they'd never run out of stories. So, it's all good with that. And there's still some big heavy hitters that we haven't gotten. We haven't got anybody from Van Halen yet on the show, and still haven't scored Ozzy. And, I'd love to have Malcolm and Angus, from AC/DC on. So there's still people out there. There's still big names out there. And we've really been, expanding, too, into some of the newer bands. So, there's plenty of people out there to talk to. And like I said, when guys who are really interesting, haven't been on in a few years, it's good to have them back again and say, hey, what's up? A lot of these bands are still making great music, even after all these years. So you want to talk to them about it, and you want to get the word out. Hey, Alice Cooper has a new album out, and it's great. Motorhead has a new album out, and it's great. Go get it, because this is the only place to go. And, Jay Leno's not having Lemmy on, so that sucks.
Sure.
But we're there for him, so.
Absolutely, man. And that is really the thing, man. I know as a fan looking at the show, I really kind of see That Metal Show as more or less the modern-day version of the old Ricky Rackman Headbangers Ball, because it's really the only place where these bands can get, national exposure on the biggest stage, Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I worked on Headbangers Ball, at MTV, back in my back before I was an old bastard like I am now. So, I definitely, respect where that, where that format came from. And, we've expanded on that a little bit. But, the bottom line is, we're the only guys out there right now doing it. And as far as on the TV angle, but, thank God we have guys like you and other people who support, metal so that we can get the word out. And that's really what the most important thing is, man, is to keep this alive. So, for me, Jim and Eddie, man, that's what it's really all about, man. It's just keep getting the word out, man, letting people know, hey, man, this type of music is still alive and relevant, today. So just, keep supporting it and support us, and, we'll just all work together. And, otherwise we're all just going to be, sitting home listening to Bieber, and nobody wants that.
Right. Now, do you, as a metal fan, as well as a TV host, do you see the metalheads of today as kind of the more loyal, music fans than the other guys? Because it just does seem like metal bands in general, it's not like they're selling a whole lot more, but they're really not selling a whole lot less either, than obviously the huge bands are, but the second tier bands still all seem to sell pretty consistently. And that's probably a testament to the metal fans being, a lot more loyal to their bands, don't you think?
Yeah, they are, man. I find metal fans to be the most loyal fans, pretty much of any music, man, because, like I still like the same bands that I like, 30 years ago. I haven't changed. When grunge came around in the 90s, I didn't, put on flannel shirts and stare at my Doc Martens. I was still listening to Judas Priest. I was still listening to Iron Maiden. I was still discovering, new bands through the 90s. So, that's pretty much, that's the, the testament to all the metalheads that are out there, even with our show. We're on VH1 Classic. Like, half the time you get carpal tunnel syndrome trying to find the channel because we're so far up there on the dial. But metalheads have found us, and that's what it's all about. When we hear about something or, something cool, we seek it out, we check it out. And, that's why it's important, especially for the three of us, man, is to just really keep it, to use the cliche, keep it real, on the show because, we know people are, looking to us, for our opinions and for our feelings on stuff. And, so that's why, the show has to be like the three of us just sitting around talking about metal. We got to do it, the way we would do it if we weren't on TV.
Right.
If we like a band, we're going to say it. If, we don't like a certain, we might like the band, but maybe we don't like a certain album or, a certain tour. We'll say it, but it doesn't mean we don't like that band. But, it's better to be honest about stuff than just to say every band and every song and everything's great because then you have no credibility.
Right.
Because if everything's great, then why watch?
Sure, and you know what? I mean, there's so many examples of that. I'm gonna guess and say that you're probably on the same sheet of music as I am with the Nostradamus from Judas Priest. Not a good record from Judas Priest, and it would do you no good and give you no credibility if you went out and just simply sold it as, it's the best thing since Painkiller. It just wouldn't work.
Right, yeah, exactly. But I mean, and if we want to take that one for an example, I honestly do like that album. I mean, I think they went out on a limb and did something, cool and outside the box. It's definitely not for every Priest fan. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to go on TV and say, it's the best album they've done since Screaming for Vengeance. So, then that would be phony. It would be like going on that metal show and saying, the album Metallica did with Lou Reed was awesome. No, it was awful, Right. And we had Lars on to try to defend it, and we broke his balls the whole time, and he gets it, because I'm not mad at Metallica that they did that. That wasn't like it was their new album. They were going to go out and tour and wheel Lou Reed out there to, sing 9 songs off the new album. No, they just, they did that on the side. That's cool with me,
Sure.
I don't like it, but I'm not mad at them for doing it. I like bands that, try to do new things, but I'm certainly not going to go on TV, to be a phony just to kiss up,
right.
To the guys in Metallica and say, oh yeah, Lulu was amazing. We talked about Lulu a bunch of times. We had Lars on, like I said, and broke his balls about it. And yet, they still asked me and Jim to perform at the first Orion Fest in Atlantic City. So, that's what, you just go out there, you be honest. We're not out there to trash anybody, but,
right.
The people who get it, they get it, and if we went out there and said, yeah, Lulu is the best album since Master of Puppets, nobody would watch the frickin' show.
Right on, man. Well, man, in addition to that metal show, you put out a live release not too long ago called Live and Hilarious. Came out on Metal Blade, and it's very clear from listening to it that the success of the TV show has definitely found its way into at least that set of that you were doing that night. Do you feel like your stand-up has changed any as a result of the success of the show?
Yeah, definitely, man. And, and thanks for giving it a plug. Very, very proud, obviously, to, have a comedy album on Metal Blade Records, to be the first comedian signed to a label that's put out albums by Slayer and Raven and King Diamond and tons of amazing bands is definitely an honor. But yeah, it was funny because over the years, obviously I've loved metal since I'm, 9 years old. So, we're over 35 years of liking metal, but I rarely talked about it in my stand-up, and so when we started doing the show, it was sort of like, wow, why am I not exposing this side of my life? I need to be talking about it more. So, I started, adding things in slowly, and actually when I do my next CD for Metal Blade in December, man, there's gonna be a lot more stuff about metal on that CD. So, I'm really looking forward to that. But at the same time, I want to make I am a comedian. I got to appeal to, as many people as possible. So there'll still be something for everybody on there. But, that part of my life, I can't hide that. Everyone knows me as, a metal guy. So
right.
that, I have to address that in my stuff. So that, that's, I'm glad that you picked up on that, and I'm going to do more of it on my next one.
Very cool, man. Well, dude, obviously, certainly not on the level you're doing it, but doing this radio show, myself and my co-host Neely, we do some comedy as well. I mean, it's certainly stream of consciousness comedy as you go. I mean, it's not really rehearsed or anything. But you know as well as I do from being up on that stage that there's nothing worse than when you start down the line, working your way into a bit, and you just know it's bombing. What do you do? Because I know I get the sweats and just hate it. But what do you do when you feel that happen and to kind of plow your way through it?
I just curse a lot more and try to bully through it. I don't, it's just, just say fuck a lot, and you'll get through it somehow. But no, I mean, it's always a process of working it out. On radio, you sort of. You're throwing it out there to the airwaves, and you don't really get an immediate response. But in front of a crowd, they're always going to let you know, hey,
right.
We're not with you on this one. So, you just, if you believe in something, you just keep retooling it and reworking it and trying it, over and over a few times. But, especially with the metal stuff, like if I'm at a comedy club on a Friday night and it's all couples and they're not necessarily a metal audience, so,
right.
If I do stuff about metal, I have to make sure I set it up so they kind of get where I'm going with things, so I don't, when I play like at a rock club and I do comedy like in a rock club with a bunch of bands, those are all fans of that metal show. They know the music, so I can get kind of deep with some of the stuff. So I do a whole kind of other act for rock clubs too, where
Sure.
they're going to get some of the inside references most people won't get, that will, like I said, that will come out on a Friday night, a bunch of couples who aren't into metal just want to come out and laugh. So I can't get too deep. I can't do King Diamond jokes,
right?
For a Friday night crowd at the Chuckle Hut in Jersey here. So,
right.
But I try to, like I said, I try to incorporate as much as I can because it's a part of me.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one that just swears my way through bad bits.
That's it. It just either make it dirty or just curse, and you'll get a laugh, and then you get out quick, and then you go, all right, I'm going to work on that bit.
Right. Exactly, man. Well, dude, talk about this band Gunfire and Sodomy.
There you go. Well, that's something a lot of people don't get, but Gunfire and Sodomy is a crazy little acoustic death metal thing that I put together about 3 years ago, and it just that was something else that just turned into Metal Blade decided, hey, they wanted to put out some of our songs, so we have 5 songs out on an EP on iTunes. And Gunfire and Sodomy is just basically like very over the top. It's like a homicidal, tenacious D. It's very offensive, but yet has a lot of humor to it. My singer is he's basically like G.G. Allen reborn, and it's just a crazy show, lots of blood and stuff. And we're actually playing in Jersey tonight, so
cool.
we're gonna start pre-gaming pretty soon to get drunk enough to do another show and get it out there. But no, it's doing good, man. It got on the bestseller on the death metal charts on iTunes, and it's everyone sees something different in it. Some people think it's comedy, some people think it's metal, some people think it's performance art. But if you're offended easily, it's definitely not for you. In fact, all the guys in the band have to take stage names because a lot of the guys in the band have kids.
Right.
And, they don't. Some of the stuff that's said could, probably have their children taken from them.
Very nice, man. So, I'll bet in your wildest dreams you never imagined you'd be in the top of any death metal charts.
No, absolutely not. Since that's not even my primary type of music that I like. But
right.
I've gotten into it over the last about 10 years.
Okay.
A lot more. And it just combines other influences, too. Like, my guitar player's really into punk, and, like I said, the singer's into G.G. Allen, and our
right.
drummers are total thrash and thrash and death metal drummer. So, you get a lot of that stuff like all mixed in, and primarily I like the classic stuff, but the death metal scene's pretty interesting, man. There's some pretty cool stuff out there.
Sure, man. Well, dude, in the world of metal, for the rest of the year and going forward into early 2014, what are you looking forward to hit your desk, so to speak?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously just, doing, in terms of, for us, doing, new metal shows and getting some new shows on the air. We definitely are doing season 13, which is very metal.
Excellent.
And we definitely have some surprises, in store for that. And, I mean, as far as music, I'm trying to think of what's even coming out, though. I mean, anything that's cool that's coming out, we're going to, talk about.
Like the new metal
talk
church,
about on that metal show. Yeah, I mean, most of them will probably be cheap plugs for Eddie's book and my new stand-up CD and,
right.
Whatever Jim is doing at the time.
Right.
But, we'll always support whatever's out there and give it a good plug.
Sure. Do you guys have the ability to bring on maybe bands that are certainly metal and certainly known, but not necessarily the heavy hitters, like a Metal Church as an example, who are coming out with a new record? I mean, would they have a chance to get on the show, or is that up to the producers really?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, VH1 books the show, which is good, thank God, because obviously I'm out all the time seeing live music, whether it's small clubs here in Jersey, or even when I go out on the road, like Jim and I will be in Kansas City next week, and we'll go out and see a bunch of bands play when we're done performing and whatever. And, everybody, wants to hand you a CD
right.
or, try to get it on the show. And it's so nice to be able to say, I have nothing to do with the booking. The network does all that stuff. But at the same time, you want to, it's funny you say Metal Church because, Metal Church is like one of my favorite, like, under-the-radar bands of all time. So, I'm with you. Like, if it was my choice, like, Metal Church would have been on, like, show 1.
Right.
But it's not my choice. But, yeah, of course. I mean, I've been emailing with Kurt Vanderhoof, who's just, one of the most underrated guitar players out there. And he's been keeping me, up to date on what's been going on with the church and all that stuff. So, yeah, it would definitely be, they're definitely not, they're a band we've talked about a lot of times, and they've made a lot of our top 5 lists and stuff.
Sure.
So, yeah, absolutely. We also have, a Skype segment now, the Metal Modem,
right.
which gives us an opportunity to get people on who, who may not, be necessarily considered a walk-on guest where they get, a 2 or 3 segments, but but just to check in, hey, so-and-so's in the studio, they gave us a couple minutes, let's talk to them. So, there's a lot more opportunities now in the new format of the show to work guys like that in as well. So, but I mean, look, I'd love to have Kurt come on. I'd love to have him play.
Sure.
He's a guy that, like I said, if I booked the show, he would have been on show 1.
Right. I hear you, man. Well, dude, you're having all kinds of success, with your comedy and obviously that metal show. Where can people go to find out about you and about the show and, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, my website's donjamieson.com, and I'm on the Twitter there. It's at Real Don Jamieson. And of course, I wanted to throw out there to support your show as well. So people should keep supporting you guys, because no matter what level you're at doing this, and I tell this to everybody, we're all out there doing the same thing, man. We're just trying to keep this music alive and keep it going. So I appreciate you having me on, man.
Sure, man. Well, dude, before I let you go, probably the best way to end this interview is with what is known as the Classic Metal Show traditional question. We've asked this literally for the last 10 years. We've probably interviewed 1,000 bands asked the same thing, and I know you have an answer for this one. How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
He's influenced my whole life, and it's not career. I mean, it's basically, getting me through high school, through college, and through my life since then. So it's not even just a part of my, my musical landscape. It's the whole philosophy of Lemmy and Motorhead is my philosophy. Don't let them bastards grind you down. I mean, I've lived by that my whole life.
Sure.
I'm a comic, you know how many times you get beat down when you're coming up as a comedian, you suck, you're never going to make it, why are you doing this, you're not going to make any money, get a real job, you know, but I could always go home and put on Iron Fist and hear, don't let them bastards grind you down, man. So that's, you know, that's what it's all about for me. It's not even just a musical thing. It's, you know, if you listen to Lemmy, you'll learn all about life. On every album by Motorhead, it's a life lesson.
Right. Absolutely, man. Well, dude, I guess we'll leave it there. So, Don, good luck with the show. Good luck with the comedy, and just good luck overall, man. It's good to hear good to see one of us doing well, you know?
Yeah, brother, and best of luck with your show too, man. And I'd love to come back on and talk about the new season once we get rolling with that.